Three reasons why most startups fail. Three myths of entrepreneurship from Furr from his book Nail It, Then Scale It, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Creating and Managing Breakthrough Innovation. The author's insights come from years of his experience working closely with several members of startups as a venture capitalist and mentor. Here are the three reasons why most startups fail. Number 1. The entrepreneur hero myth. Why believing in your product leads to failure. According to the authors, all too often, entrepreneurs fall in love with their product or technology. They ignore negative feedback from customers, and they spend years building a product based on a vision that no one else shares. Having passion, determination, and vision are always not the great ingredients for entrepreneurial success, even though they are considered as heroic traits. If you look at both failed startups and successful ones, you can find that most entrepreneurs were passionate, determined, and visionary. Very often, believing in your product can lead you blinded to the market realities. Often, the factor that makes entrepreneurs successful is not just their personal qualities, but more importantly, the process they use. Number 2. The process myth. Why building a product leads to failure. According to the traditional entrepreneurial model, an entrepreneur has an idea, gathers resources to build the product, develops the product, perfects the product, then produces and sells the product. This model, like the product development model, might produce good results for established companies in markets that have dominated for years, but it works very poorly for entrepreneurs, as entrepreneurs operate very differently compared to large companies. Large companies work on known problems and work out a solution, but startups work on unknown problems, often with an unknown solution. Most entrepreneurs believe that the process to become a successful entrepreneur is to have an idea, invest their time and resources to build the product, and then go sell it. This process intuitively seems right to most people because it is based on the product development model. Now, the irony is, what you may find as a great idea may not be a great idea for your customers. Speaking to social circles about your idea can also be misleading because you are confusing your social circle with your customer base. Based on the biased feedback from friends and family, you may even make value additions, hoping that the product is ready for launch. But here comes the killer. Whether customers actually buy the product or not has little to do with how hard the entrepreneur worked, how brilliant the technology is, or how charismatic the salesperson is. Why? Because the entire product was built on an illusion about what customers want. And so whether customers actually buy is more of a random possibility, a kind of entrepreneurial Russian roulette. It is also one of the reasons why most entrepreneurs fail, not because they couldn't make the product, but because they didn't build what the customers wanted. Remember, most business plans are based on faith rather than facts about what the market wants. Number 3. The money myth. Why having too much money leads to failure. The money myth is the belief that an entrepreneur needs to have a large amount of money to start a successful business. Although there is an old saying that it takes money to make money, for entrepreneurs, the formula isn't so simple. There are several reasons why more capital for a startup can actually increase failure rather than assure success. One reason is that, in the early days, entrepreneurs need to focus obsessively on finding what customers want. Most often, too much money provides a cushion against the cold, hard world. Excess money can enable entrepreneurs to keep spending for a long time, executing on their plan before they discover they were wrong. At the core, too much money at the wrong time encourages entrepreneurs to develop an internal focus on the product and fall back into the traditional product-based model. On the contrary, they really need to develop an external focus on customers and employ the new customer-based model. Also, having too much money in the early stages leads to temptation of prematurely scaling the business, which is the number one cause of startup death. First, you need to nail it, then scale it. If you have access to money, then take the advice of Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen. When asked what separates successful from unsuccessful new ventures, he said, "Successful startups are the ones who have enough money left over to try their second idea. The purpose is to make the entrepreneurs realize that they need to look beyond their services or product idea and build a workable model of execution for sustenance and growth." Do you know why startups fail? Please leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe.